I'll close my thing.
Looks like we already have some folks joining us. Welcome, everybody.
Awesome. Early comers.
Yes.
Is that what you say? Late. You got late birds and
Early birds?
Early birds? Yeah. Early bird gets the worm.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. You get a worm, guys.
These are the committed folks right here.
Or they thought it started 45 minutes ago and they're like,
I hope not.
I've been there before. Yeah.
Hey, friends, welcome. As you come in, would love to know your name and where you're from and maybe something about the book that you're working on. Make sure you, in that drop-down menu just above where you type, make sure you select everyone so that everybody can see what you're saying. Ruth says hello from the UK. Hey, Ruth.
Hey, Ruth.
She's asking, what's the worm, Jeff?
It's your show, Chad. You better have brought a worm.
Wait, you just offered a worm.
Ruth, send me your address. I'll send you all the worms you want. I'm sure. I mean, here's what I'm actually going to do, for the next hour is find a worm delivery service, a live worm. I am sure this exists online.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that exists.
I mean, say you're on a fishing trip and you go, oh man, forgot the worms. They don't have a, bait and tackle store. Right. That's all right. Worms are us. I'll just Amazon same day,
right.
Prime now the worms.
Yeah, there's a drone that comes in while you're sitting by the lake and it just drops off some worms for you.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Let's see who's here. Casey from Turlock, California. Welcome, Casey. Deborah Lynn from the U.S. and New Jersey. My novel, Aaron and Me, doesn't have a widespread audience. All right. You have a novel, though. That's more than a lot of people have. Danny says, hello from Chicago, writing a romance/thriller. Awesome. Michaela from South Africa's here.
Wow.
Kay from Atlanta. I don't have worms either.
It's good to not have worms.
Hey, speaking of worms, I do have some really nice bonuses that they're not quite worms, but maybe they'll be even more useful.
Yeah.
Tanya Price from Franklin, Massachusetts just finished the first draft of my YA historical novel. I've published short stories, but this is my fourth novel. First, I'm submitting to a publisher. Awesome. Welcome, Tanya. Wes from Evergreen, Colorado. My parents used to live in Evergreen. Historical novel. Welcome, Wes. And folks, just a reminder, as you're typing, make sure you select everyone right above where you type so that we all can see what you're saying.
All right, I found it.
You found a worm?
Speedyworm.com.
Oh, gosh.
I found
That's
these.
amazing.
I've just posted a link here for everybody's enjoyment. These are European night crawlers. They're real nice.
Wow.
Yeah, only $8 for 100 worms. It's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. These are European night crawlers. They're the larger cousins of the red worm, but smaller than the Canadian night crawler. So just FYI, they're kind of they're like the Goldilocks of worms. Just right, not too big, not too small.
That's hilarious. For those of you who don't get the joke, earlier we were talking about how the early birds get the worm. You guys are all early birds, and Jeff is figuring out how to get early worms to you.
Yeah. You get crickets delivered to your doors, live crickets delivered to your door. You can also just open the door and pick a cricket out of the yard, but
that's no fun.
Yeah, $6.90, and you get some. I don't know how many crickets you get. You get some live crickets if you order them now.
That's awesome. Michael McShane from Huntington Beach, California. Welcome, Michael. Ruth is hoping my bonuses are better than worms. I'm pretty sure they are, Ruth. Carol from New Jersey in the New York City area. I've got an amateur detective story. Awesome. KJ from Canada. I'm a teenager writing a YA fantasy. Welcome, KJ. Gertrude from Southern Virginia, working on a biography of a girl who survived World War II by going to a refugee camp in Denmark. Her father was in the SS with Hitler. She is now an American. Wow, what a story. Welcome, Gertrude. Ruth from Yorkshire, UK, writing a nonfiction book called Older Yet Bolder, 101 Ways to Overcome Ageism in the Workplace. Awesome. That is needed. Ruth, I've never, I don't know, maybe you've read this, Jeff. I'm currently reading the children's classic, The Secret Garden, and I just have never read it before. And they speak Yorkshire with a Yorkshire accent in the book. So that you're from Yorkshire, UK, interests me, Ruth. Have you read that before, Jeff?
I haven't. It was a movie too, right? Or probably a couple of times.
Yes, and a Broadway musical. Yeah.
I think I saw the movie when I was growing up.
Yeah, it's engaging. Greetings from WEMAC. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name or not, but welcome. Rick from Knoxville, Tennessee. They love your cool glasses, Jeff.
Thanks. I'm outside. These are prescription sunglasses.
Nice.
Which I started ordering glasses because I was tired of like going in for an eye exam and paying like whatever $200 for a pair of glasses. So I found this. A friend recommended this website called Zennies, Zennis, Zennies.com.
Mm-hmm.
You just put your prescription in and order glasses, and they also have sunglasses. So
nice.
I'm not wearing contacts these days, so I figured I should get some. And I've done the thing. Have you done the thing where you put like regular sunglasses over your regular glasses?
Yes.
Wasn't gonna do that.
That's so, yeah. You've got a reputation to maintain, Jeff, as a fashion icon. I mean,
these are like $20.
Those glasses are $20.
Yeah, they're like 30. Wow. I think they're like $25. They're 30 with like shipping and handling. So,
whoa, that's
yeah,
amazing.
Prescription sunglasses, Zennies.
All right, there's your worm, folks. All right, where are we? Essie from Michigan, welcome. Writing epic fantasy book, Serial, terrific. Oh, let's see. I missed Brian from Vancouver, trying to get clear on an idea to write a leadership type book using my experience from working with Franklin Covey and other life experiences. Awesome. I think this workshop will be helpful to you, Brian. Wayne Cook, writing a fiction book, Escape. Welcome, Wayne. Sandy is in the house. Hey, Sandy. Pauline from the UK. I'm looking forward to this webinar. The Secret Garden is a great book. I'm enjoying it too. Roseanne from Pennsylvania is here. Welcome, Roseanne. And WEMAC it is. Welcome. Ruth says she lives in Yorkshire but struggle with the local accent. She's German. Aha. Yeah. Esther, nonfiction spiritual books from Texas. Welcome. Hey guys, welcome as you come in. We're just sharing name, where we're from, a little about the book we're working on, and it just helps us get to know a little bit about you and helps you all get to know a little bit about each other. Speaking of which, as you type in the chat room, make sure you select everyone in the little drop-down menu above where you type, and that way we'll all be able to see what you're saying rather than just Jeff and me. Howdy Guten Tag. Hello, I am Helmut S., author of Sepp's Epic Perils and Pitfalls, a series of historical fiction stories. Welcome, Helmut S., author. Helmut S., I guess is how you are calling yourself. You have the most beautiful day every day. Awesome. That's a great greeting. Thanks, Helmut. Connie, locked in from Germany, German South African. Look forward to listening to you. Written 4 books in German, translated 1 into English just now. Wow. Stuff to edit it, though. Good. Welcome, Connie. Kay says, been watching Hurricane Florence weather. Yes, our thoughts and prayers with everybody on the East Coast. We are all watching that. Family in Myrtle Beach. Did I miss anything? Nope, just the countdown here. Jeff and me yucking it up. You didn't miss much. Sandy says Zenny is great. Another endorsement for Zenny. Darrell from Connecticut. Hey, Darrell, I think we interacted via email. Glad to see you here. Pauline says, Jeff and Chad, I've written a book on living with leukemia, and I'm now editing a manuscript that my cat Ollie wrote. They are his diaries. That's so terrific. Welcome, Pauline. Kathy, hailing from Texas, a transplanted Michigander. All right. Well, Jeff and I were just swapping temps, and it is like, what did I say, 73 degrees here. You said it was 98, 95.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. Too hot.
Yeah.
It's that time of year where it's pretty cool in the morning. It'll be in like the high 60s, at sunrise. So when I'm taking my son to school, I'm like, oh, it's going to be a nice day. And then by noon, it's close to 100.
Sweltering. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that happens down there in September.
Yeah. It's not a fun time to dress because like you'll go, oh, it's cool today. I'm going to wear like jeans and wear a jacket. And then by the middle of the day, you are sweating.
Yeah.
But if you wear shorts and stuff, you're cold.
You're cold. Yes, I get it. It's layer time.
Yeah. I gotta I gotta get those jeans where you can zip off the lower parts, turn them into shorts.
Right.
That's what I need.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
You need a Zennies for zip off jeans.
Yeah.
Or better yet, a Speedy Worm. Okay.
That's what happens if you come early. You get all the inside jokes.
Yeah. Lucky you guys. Okay, that's Jeff saying something to Sandy, I think. Is that right? That's you. That's you to me privately. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Message received. Kathy says, I'm working on my first fiction piece. I'm a Christian murder mystery writer. Welcome, Kathy. All right. Rebecca from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Welcome, Rebecca. Connie from Indiana, working on a Christian book on learning from our trials. Wishing everyone success. Thanks, Connie. Welcome. Judy here from Imperial, Missouri. Welcome. Welcome those of you who are just coming in. We're coming down to about the 2-minute mark. Glad to see such a great crowd here. This is terrific. I'm excited about what I have to share with you. So grateful to Jeff for this opportunity to speak with you. And folks are just chiming in here with their name, where they're from, something about the book they're working on. So that's what we're doing. Make sure you hit everyone above where you type in the little drop-down menu. That way we all can see what you're typing. Laura from Fort Worth is here. Just published my first book titled In His Hands I Am Healed. The book describes my journey through 5 cancer diagnoses. Wow. Welcome.
Hey, Madeline, where in Chicago are you from? Lincoln Park, cool.
That's a nice place.
Mm-hmm.
I love that area. I love the zoo up there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Great this time of year, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little lakefront, lake effect, nice and cool.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yep. Monica's here from Boise. Just signed with an agent. Congratulations. And we'll be shopping around my nonfiction proposal soon. Fantastic. Well, you hopefully will find out some information that will make your proposal even stronger here. So glad you're here, Monica.
Hey, Michael from St. Charles. I lived in St. Charles for a while. St. Charles, Illinois.
Where is that in relation to Chicago?
Just like 30 minutes west.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, suburb.
Lance and Phoenix, welcome. Meg from Ellicott City, Maryland, welcome. Working on a cozy mystery. Yes. I'm kind of moving here quickly. I want to make sure we get as many as we can. Abby from Florida. Claudia from California. Welcome, welcome. Looking at the lake from my office, Madeline says. Wow.
Wow.
Not bad.
That's cool.
Yeah. Bye from York, Pennsylvania. I've been to York. I've authored 3 statistics textbooks. However, now I'm working on several manuscripts related to preparing for college, biblical life planning, Christian discipline, and a model of organizational vitality morbidity. Welcome by Yuri from Brazil. Anita from Orion. Where's Orion? Do you know? Yep. I don't know where that is. Welcome, Anita. Tanya, South Jersey. Welcome. Welcome, Trey from Phoenix. All right, we're getting there. We have a great group of folks with us today. Lawrence from Toronto, welcome. Lon from Uperland, awesome. That's the UP. Did you know that, Jeff?
I gathered. It took me like a second to decode it.
All right.
You know somebody's from Michigan because they're always holding up their hand.
Yeah.
I live here.
Yeah. Good. Well, we're at the top of the hour, actually 3 minutes past the top of the hour. So do you want to get started, Jeff? Is there anything you want to say to get us started?
Sure. Yeah. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jeff Goins. I want to introduce you to my friend Chad Allen, if you're not familiar with him. Chad and I are good friends, and Chad is my go-to guy for all things about book proposals. I interviewed Chad a while ago, a couple of years ago, actually, on my podcast, A Portfolio Life. Mentioned that in this week's newsletter. So if you haven't seen that, go back and listen, or watch that, go back and listen to it. But if you are here, you probably dream of writing a book. And the way to do that with a traditional publisher is to get a book contract. And the way to do that is to write a great book proposal. And I know of no one who knows how to do this better and has helped more people with this than Chad. And he's just a good dude. And it's good to introduce you to good dudes and people. I think you're going to be in good hands. Plus, he has red hair. I mean, how wrong could you go with that? But no, I love this. I've learned a lot from Chad over the years. He'll probably tell you some of this, but he has over 20 years in the publishing industry. He knows his stuff. He's worked with lots of authors on lots of book deals. And what he's going to share with you today has personally helped me, and I know it will help you as well. So Chad, take it away. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm honored for this opportunity to have a chance to connect with all of you. And I'm going to shut off our cameras. Actually, Jeff, if you can shut off yours.
Shutting off.
Okay. So that we can focus in on the slides here. And welcome. If you're here for the 5 insider secrets to landing a book deal, insights from best-selling authors most publishers won't tell you, then you are in the right place. I am stoked about sharing this content with you. I've been working on this for a while. I've delivered this just a handful of times, and everybody's, really got a lot out of it. So I feel really confident in the presentation I'm about to make. So as we get started, I encourage you to just soothe yourself, like get into this mood of relaxed concentration. You took the time to be here. Congratulations. Now take the time to get the most out of this. Maybe grab pen and a piece of paper to take some notes. Shut off your apps, your mail, and just get focused in here. That way you'll get the maximum you can from this presentation. So I always like to encourage people to get into this mode of relaxed concentration. Maybe have a drink. I have a glass of water here myself, and enjoy this, but concentrate, get something out of it, because this really is a workshop, and I'm going to be asking you to do some work along the way, work that's going to benefit you. So with that, we'll get moving with the housekeeping items. And I mentioned this a little bit in the countdown, but you'll notice there's a Q&A button on your screen somewhere. At least I hope you notice that. If when you have a question, you'll just tap that button and type in your question. And I encourage your questions. If at any point during this presentation you have a question, hit the Q&A, type in your question there. That just keeps it separate from the chat room. Speaking of the chat room, when you type in that chat box, make sure you're selecting everyone from that drop-down menu just above where you type. That way everybody can see what you have to say. not just me and Jeff. And speaking of the chat room, I'm going to give you a chance to type in there right now. I'd like you to say yes if you have a message or story you are passionate about getting into the world. Yes, yes, Yuri, yes, yes. All right, excellent. Or how about this one? Say yes if you want to get your book published but don't know how to navigate the publishing industry. Is that true? Tanya, yes. Rebecca, yes. Okay, how about this one? Say yes if you have an idea for a book but struggle with where to go from here. Somebody talked about wanting to write a leadership book and didn't really know, what to do next. Yes, lots of yeses. Somebody says somewhat. All right, good. How about this one? Say yes if you know you need to write a book proposal but would like some hands-on coaching and guidance. For whom is that true? Yes. Deborah Lynn, yes. Casey, yes. All right. And the last one is say yes if you are worried publishers won't take you seriously. Is that true for anybody? Yes, Claudia, Noelle, Ruth. Ruth, no. Excellent. Roseanne, Casey, Lance. Yes, very much. Good. All right. Well, if you said yes to any of those, either in the chat box or in your head, I have good news for you. You are in the right place. You are the folks that I've designed this presentation for. So know that going into this, that you definitely are in the right place. And if you stick around to the end, I'd like to share these two bonuses with you. We were joking earlier about how the early bird gets the worm, but the fact is, everybody who sticks around gets these two bonuses. The My Writing Process worksheet, which is a fillable PDF that helps you design a writing process that gets you to be your most productive. People have found that really helpful. And also the Author Income Calculator. This is a tool, a little Excel spreadsheet where you type in some numbers and you can actually begin to estimate how much income you'll make from your book. And again, lots of people have found this really helpful. All you have to do is stick around to the end. It's my way of saying thank you for being here, and I'm really pleased to share those with you. So here's what you'll learn today. You're going to learn how to dramatically improve your chances of getting published. You'll learn the kind of author publishers will pay big money to work with. You'll learn 3 possible ways to establish your credibility as an author. Earlier, I asked you to say yes if you were worried whether or not publishers would take you seriously. That's a credibility issue, and there are 3 ways to be credible. We'll go through each of those with examples. You'll also find out 2 things you must know to develop a strong book concept. 2 things you must know to develop a strong book concept, and the essential elements of a compelling book proposal. The essential elements of a compelling book proposal. And when it comes to publishing, my journey started right here at what's called Rathvinden House in County Carlow, Ireland. This is the former home of Douglas Gresham, and he is the stepson of the late C.S. Lewis. What happened is in the 90s, I watched this movie called Shadowlands, starring Anthony Hopkins and Deborah Winger, about C.S. Lewis, and basically the story of his relationship with Joy Davidman. Many of you know C.S. Lewis. He wrote the very popular Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, along with the other Narnia Chronicles, Mere Christianity, among many other books. And in this movie, Deborah Winger, playing Joy Davidman, has this son in the movie, and his name is Douglas Gresham. And I started doing the math in my head, and I realized that while C.S. Lewis and Joy had long since passed, that little boy was about 50 or so years old as I was watching the movie. And I thought, I wonder if I could contact him. So it wasn't Google back then. It was Ask Jeeves or Yahoo or some other search engine. But I managed to find Doug Gresham's email address. And I started corresponding with him regularly when I was a junior in college, through my senior year of college and beyond, and eventually got up the nerve to ask him if I could come over and help him out there in Ireland. He was running a hospitality ministry, and more importantly, for our purposes, he was serving as the general consultant to the company that owns all the rights to C.S. Lewis's work. So any book that needs the rights of C.S. Lewis's estate, the publishing rights, those works come across Doug's desk. And I asked him if I could come help him out. He eventually said yes. He said, first of all, he said, let's think about it. But eventually he said yes, thankfully. And I flew over there, and I was there for about 8 months, from the summer of 97 into the spring of 98. And that was my first exposure to publishing. I learned that there were these people behind the scenes that had a big impact on the final book that got released into the marketplace. And that was so intoxicating to me. I knew that I had to be part of this. Well, fast forward 20 years, and I've had a career in traditional book publishing, spent most of those years at Baker Publishing Group, the last 7 of those years as editorial director of the Baker Books division of Baker Publishing Group. And we saw rapid growth there. This is the team I worked with, and love every single one of these folks. We just had a ball, and I loved every minute of it. It's been about 5 months now that I transitioned to be a full-time writing coach to help people like you. So I'm pleased to be where I am. But I had a great time at Baker. I worked on books like these, just a wide gamut of books, including Christian living books, self-help books, personal narrative, business books. It really does run the gamut. Many of which hit the New York Times bestseller list and other bestseller lists. Here are a few more that I worked on. The TechWise Family is sort of a faith and culture book. Unscripted is an autobiography by Ernie Johnson Jr. Did some biography, parenting books, again, self-help books. So it was a lot of fun. And in fact, I got to do really fun stuff, like go to the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. That's us behind the scenes in the bottom right with Ernie Johnson Jr. He's the one in the bow tie. He's a host on Inside the NBA with Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith. And he did a little publicity tour in New York City, and we got to hang out with Stephen Colbert. Pretty awesome. But there's another side to this story. Regularly, I was sending out this email. It says, "Dear writer, thank you for sending this to us. We deeply appreciate the opportunity. We've reviewed this proposal carefully and have decided to decline. As valuable as this book would be, we don't think we could reach a wide enough audience for it to be a viable project with us. We wish you well as you pursue a publishing home for this important project." Well, I tried to be nice. I hope this comes across as a polite letter, but it is basically a rejection letter. And I was having to send this out multiple times every week. And it really started to get to me, particularly when I knew that if I could help some of these writers, I might be able to change that decision. So I went to school on book proposals. In fact, I became obsessed with book proposals. I started taking notes about what worked in a book proposal and what didn't. When we went to our publishing committee, which is the group of people that makes publishing decisions inside a publishing company, I would start noticing, okay, what part of this proposal, got them excited, and what parts of the proposal turned them off. And then I started to take what I was learning and started to coach people. Sometimes I would do it in my role at Baker. Sometimes I would kind of do it in the margins as a kind of an independent coach. And I was able to help a lot of people. This is just a sample of the folks that I've helped. The bottom left there is Scott Kadersha, who wrote a book for folks who are thinking about getting married called Ready or Not, KNOT. Very clever. His book comes out in about 6 months. At the top left there is Lisa Van Engen. She wrote a book for parents who want to instill values of social justice in their children. That's her signing her book contract. Was so pleased to help her with her book proposal, and I'm excited to see her book in the world. At the top is Bobby Jr., who wrote a book called The Reluctant Caregiver. Very helpful book for people who find themselves in a caregiving situation for perhaps an older parent or grandparent. That's Luke Norsworthy in the top right. He wrote a book that just released called God Over Good. And he's a pastor down in Austin, helped him with his book proposal. And Baker actually ended up picking up his book. At the bottom there is Chuck Tate sitting with his team at Tyndale. His book 41 Will Come. And again, I was so thrilled to work with him on his proposal, see him win a book deal, and get a copy of his book in the mail. And for all of these people, the 5 secrets I'm going to share with you today were absolutely instrumental. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Here's the first secret. Your audience is not everybody. Your audience is not everybody. And this secret always reminds me of Kevin Kelly's quote. Kevin Kelly was the co-founder, or is the co-founder of Wired Magazine. He wrote a very famous blog post, and in it he says, to be a successful creator, you don't need millions. To make a living, you need only 1,000 true fans. And the principle there is that all you need to do is cultivate your tribe, your readership. You don't have to reach everybody. And to underscore this point, I'd like to ask you, with your number, using a number in the chat box, how many of these books have you purchased? How many of these books have you purchased? This is the current, I just grabbed this from the internet last night. This is the current combined print and ebook nonfiction New York Times bestseller list, the top 5. How many of these books have you purchased? 0, 0. Everybody's saying 0, sadly. 0, 0. Somebody asked if this works for fiction. Yes, it does. 1, somebody says. 2, Ruth says. All right, but you get the point. Most of us have not purchased any of these books. Well, wait a minute. These books are on the New York Times bestseller list. I'm assuming that any of us would love to be able to say we are New York Times bestselling authors. All of these people can say that, and yet not many of us have purchased even one of these books. Why is that? Well, it's because we are not currently in the tribe of these books, but they clearly have a tribe. In fact, that tribe has been aggressive about purchasing these books, and that's how they ended up on the New York Times list. Well, the really good news here for you in this is that you don't have to write a book for everybody, and that is terrific news. I'm reminded of Frederick Buechner's quote. He said, "The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet." Both of those are important. Your deep gladness is about what you are passionate about, what lights you up. And the world's deep hunger is about what your tribe needs from you. It's when those two things converge that you're going to find your tribe. When your deep gladness, the world's deep hunger meet, that's where your tribe is. That's where you want to focus your attention. So who is your audience? It could be mothers of preschoolers. It could be teenage boys from 13 to 18. It could be college-bound seniors. It could be busy fathers who work outside of the home. I'd love to see in the chat box just a few of you take a shot at this. Just describe who your audience is. It could be a demographic. It could be a psychographic. It could be both. Deborah Lynn says, women, particularly those who are parents and possibly teachers. Rebecca says, people who love pie. Awesome. Jody says, people who have been adopted. Awesome. Joy says, teachers. Terrific. Women, mystery lovers. They're coming in fast. People, no, I missed it. Organizational leaders. Women who love to travel. Great. So you guys already have a sense of who your tribe is. And that is extremely valuable when it comes to landing a book deal. Here's the key principle. Publishers love authors who have a clear audience in mind. Publishers love authors who have a clear audience in mind. Here's secret number 2. A strong book concept will do a lot of work for you. A strong book concept will do a lot of work for you. Well, what is a strong book concept? Here are the 2 things you must know about a strong book concept. One is it meets a real need real people really have. This isn't about the need you think they have. This is about the need they think they have. And your book does this in a distinctive way. It meets a real need real people really have in a distinctive way. So let's look at some examples. Now, I'm cheating here a little bit because hindsight's 2020, and I know that all the books I'm about to show you have been successful. But I still think it's useful to think about how these books have met these 2 criteria. So 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, powerful lessons in personal change. Does this meet a real need real people really have? Well, if you want to be a highly effective person, and clearly many people do, then yes, this meets a need you have. Does it do so in a distinctive way? Yes, Covey's going to give 7 habits. And I remember one of them is begin with the end in mind, which is kind of a household phrase now, but back not until this book was published did people say that. So yes, this meets both criteria. Or check out this one. This is a marriage book, His Needs, Her Needs, Building an Affair-Proof Marriage. Is this a real need people have? Absolutely it is. Does Willard Harley write this in a distinctive way? Yes, he's going to talk about his needs and her needs. And clearly it's meeting a need because over 2 million copies have sold. Or check out this one, Zig Ziglar, Secrets of Closing the Sale. If you're a salesperson, does this meet a need you have? Absolutely it does. And does it do so in a distinctive way? Yes, for one thing, it's Zig Ziglar, who's very distinctive, and he's going to offer you secrets. And those are particular to Ziglar. So yes, this meets the criteria. I'm bouncing around showing you different genres because I want to show you different ways that this can work. Look at this one. This is a personal narrative book, 90 Minutes in Heaven, a true story of death and life. Does this meet a need real people have? Well, absolutely it does. If you are at death's door or you are caregiving for somebody who's maybe in hospice care, you may be curious about what comes after this life ends. Does it do so in a distinctive way? Yeah, he's going to give you a true story, he says, of death and life. And so, yes, this meets both criteria. Now, I don't have a novel to show you, but I often get the question, what about fiction? And since I know a number of you are fiction writers, let me just take a moment to say that oftentimes the need that a novel is meeting is the need for entertainment. Sometimes it can be more specific than that. Like if I'm buying a children's book for my daughter, I need an entertaining book for my daughter, right? Or if I want to read a novel that's set in World War II because I want to learn about World War II, then I want an entertaining read about World War II. So, but the base of any novel is entertainment. So yes, that meets a real need real people really have and does so in a distinctive way. Here's the thing to know. Strong book concepts are like catalysts. Now, I know you didn't come here wanting to go to chemistry class, but I'm going to take you there just briefly. And believe me, I'm no chemist, but I do remember this. In chemistry, catalysts lower the amount of energy required for a chemical reaction to take place. You see that? So this is a catalyzed reaction and the uncatalyzed reaction, and it takes less energy for that reaction to happen when there's a catalyst involved. What does that have to do with publishing? In publishing, strong book concepts lower the amount of energy required for a book to catch on in the marketplace. In other words, they end up marketing themselves. So that's why a strong book concept is so important. It just takes a lot less energy for it to build momentum in the marketplace. That's why you want a book that meets a real need real people really have in a distinctive way. So what does your audience need? Well, I want to help you with this a little bit by talking about developing one or more I statements. An I statement is a statement that begins with I that would be said or thought by someone just before they purchased your book. So let me show you some examples of some I statements. I'm scared of giving birth. I don't know how to take care of my baby, of a baby. Well, these are both things that a person might say just before buying what to expect when you're expecting. Those are I statements that lead to the purchase of this book. Or take this example. I want a cleaner house. I want less clutter in my life. Well, these are statements that somebody might say just before buying the life-changing magic of tidying up. Or how about this one? I want people to take me seriously. I want people to listen to me. Those are things you might think or say just before buying, how to talk so people will listen. So I want to give you a chance to do this. Oh, good. I can see that somebody on Jeff's camera is here, and I'm trying to figure out how to shut up. Okay, there they go. All right. Back on track. What are some of your audience's I statements? What are some of your audience's I statements? What are the statements your readers would say just before buying your book? Jump into the chat box. I don't know how to survive my loved one's suicide. Wow, yes. I don't see where God is in my life. How can I be an effective pastor? Excellent. Is God enough? I'm overwhelmed with all the decisions I need to make. Awesome. I wish I could deal with these expectations people put on me. Terrific. I want more peace in my life. Excellent. These are wonderful. I need to find my audience. All right. I'm scared to trust God. I don't know, Richard, if you mean that as a real I statement or if that's just your statement right now. But either way, good clarity. How can one care package sent to a refugee make a difference? Excellent. I'm not able. Oh, they're moving too fast. I want to understand my father. Wonderful. I love mysteries involving strong, feisty women. Excellent, Carol. I'm sick of being codependent. Awesome. So you can see how these are getting at both demographics and psychographics. They cover things like women of a certain age or a certain season of life, but they're also covering psychographics, interests that people have, needs that people have. So that's terrific. And you guys already have a really good sense of your I statements, which puts you ahead of so many people because you can put a finger on what your reader's need is that is going to make them want to purchase your book. Here is the key principle. Publishers love to publish books that meet strong felt needs. Publishers love to publish books that meet strong felt needs. Here's the third secret. You are your book's most important marketer. You are your book's most important marketer. When it comes to marketing, friends, there's what you can do and what the publisher can do, and that's it. So you might ask yourself, well, what can a publisher do? Well, a publisher can feature your book via their catalog and website. That's important. Publishers use those catalogs to go out to accounts. They use their website to promote your book. So that's a good thing that they can do. They can buy ads for you. Many times it's online ads these days, and they can use their marketing budget to buy ads that promote your book. Or they can pay for a publicist. They can hire somebody to go out after media outlets that will help the publisher promote your book. Those are all things a publisher can do. They also can strategize with the author. So that's at least 4 things an author can do. And here's my question for you. Where do you think, among those 4 things, where do you think the publisher gets the most bang for their buck? Is it their catalog and website? Is it ads? Is it a publicist? Or is it strategizing with the author? What do you think? Strategize, author, ads, strategizing, publicist, strategize. Strategizing with author. Author, don't know, Paula says. Love the honesty. Good. Well, what we found again and again was the best way for us to spend our marketing dollars was by strategizing with the author. When an author already has a tribe in place, already has a clear sense of the need that their book is addressing, the best way a publisher can spend its marketing dollars is by strategizing with the author. Here's something P.T. Barnum said: without promotion, something terrible happens. Nothing. And that is so true. You've got to be promoting your book or something terrible happens. Nothing. And you might be sitting here and you might be thinking, look, I'm a writer. Why do I have to be a marketer? I don't really like marketing. I like writing, but I don't really want to market what I have to say. And I get it. But one of the reasons that it's important to market your book is that you are in competition with authors who are very willing to market their work. And I also have some good news for you. If you believe in your book, it can be fun to get creative and promote it. This is Jeff's and my mutual friend, Michael Hyatt, and he loves marketing his books. I have had the privilege of working with him on several books, and I can tell you he loves promoting his books because he believes in them so passionately. He knows that if somebody picks up one of his books, reads it, and does what it says, it will have a dramatic impact on their lives. And so he loves to market his book. Here he is recording a podcast or something, having a great time. Plus, the other thing to know is you don't have to do all the things, quote, end quote. You don't have to be speaking and doing videos and writing op-eds. You can choose what channels work best for you because there are many different ways to market. In fact, I would ask you, which of these ways appeals most to you? And this is not an exhaustive list, but when you look at public speaking, blogging, podcasting, video blogging, op-eds and articles, which of these ways appeals most to you? All of the above, Gina says. Public speaking, Paula. Denise, podcast and blogging. Blogging, speaking, blogging. All, says Alex. Mark says video blog. Pauline, blogging probably. Excellent. Good work, guys. So you are already aware of some of the different ways to market your book and which of these ways is the best fit for you. So I encourage you, when you think about joining with a publisher in marketing your book, make sure that you pick things that you will actually enjoy doing. That's so important. Here's the key principle. Publishers love to partner with authors who will work hard to market their book. Publishers love to partner with authors who will work hard to market their book. Secret number 4, credibility is king. Now, you've probably heard content is king, and that's true, except that if you're not seen as credible, no one is ever going to see your content. You have to be seen as credible before people will actually read your content. So there are 3 types of credibility: formal, experiential, and social. So let's talk about each of these. Formal is the most straightforward. This is when you have a PhD or some other degree to your name. Or maybe you've gone through a certification class or a certain course of study that gives you a credential. That's what I call formal credibility. So let's talk about experiential credibility. This is Scott Kelly, and he is out there in outer space doing a spacewalk, which is really important when it comes to his book, Endurance: A Year in Space, a Lifetime of Discovery. Now, Scott Kelly may very well have some formal credibility also. You might have a doctorate in aerospace engineering or something. I don't know. But what we care about when it comes to this book is his experience. We want to know about his year in space, right? So he has experiential credibility. Well, let's take things a little closer to home, as it were. This is from Mike Berry, Confessions of an Adoptive Parent, Hope and Help from the Trenches of Foster Care and Adoption. Now, I know Mike, and he doesn't have a degree in adoptive parenting, if such a thing even exists. But what he does have is experience. And I love that phrase, from the trenches. He's kind of signaling to you or that subtitle is signaling to you his experiential credibility, which is what we care about if we're interested in this book. Or let's talk about social credibility. This is Simon Sinek. And he has credibility because his TED Talk is the third most popular TED Talk of all time. It's called How Great Leaders Inspire Action. And the fact is, lots of people have seen that talk. And then he later followed that up with a book called Start With Why. Many of you have heard of it. He has social credibility. Or take Anne Bogle, who started a blog called Modern Mrs. Darcy. The tagline is, get more out of your reading life. What she started to do was talk about what she was reading and do book reviews and just share her experience of reading these different books. And lots of people tuned in to listen. She has a massive following at this blog. And so she has social credibility. So here's my question for you. What kind or kinds of credibility do you have? Experiential, Denise says. Cassie, experiential. Experience, education, experiential, formal and experiential. Pauline, experiential. Experiential and social, says Sandy. 50 years as high priest, all right? Experiential, social. Good, excellent. And the thing I'd just like to say to all of you is that every one of these forms of credibility is valid. Sometimes we can do this hierarchy thing where we put formal credibility above the other two. And I guess that's true if you're writing a book about how to do brain surgery, right? You probably need some formal credibility. But for most of the trade books that you and I are interested in, each one of these types of credibility is valid. So I just want you to take comfort in knowing that. Here's the key principle. Publishers want to publish credible authors. Publishers don't want egg on their face, and you don't want egg on your face as an author. It's important for you to know how you're credible and why you're credible, because credibility is king. That brings us to the fifth and final secret. A strong book proposal is the key that opens the doors to publishing. A strong book proposal is the key that opens the doors to publishing. So what is a book proposal? A book proposal is a document authors create to pitch their book to publishers. A book proposal is a document authors create to pitch their book to publishers. Or another way of thinking about it is a book proposal is essentially your book's business plan. And you might be asking, wait a minute, I'm a writer. Why do I have to write a business plan? And the reality is that as soon as you sign a book contract, you are serving two roles. You are definitely an artist. You're a writer, and that's extremely important. But you are also a business partner, because publishers are going to invest in your book, or a publisher will invest in your book when they send you a book contract and you sign it. And they want to do everything they can to recoup that investment. You want to help them do that. That makes you a business partner. So your book proposal is really your business plan, and you're making the case for why this book is going to sell in the marketplace. That's what a book proposal is. What are the key elements of a book proposal? Well, there's the cover page with the title and subtitle. And that sounds really straightforward, but there's actually quite a bit that goes into this, because your title and subtitle is where your book concept sort of takes on flesh, right? This is where it's encapsulated, is that cover page. So that's extremely important. Then there's your brief description. That's 3 to 5 paragraphs, casting a vision for your book. It's also the first place where a reviewer will read your writing. So in some ways, it serves as your first writing sample. Then there's your bio. This is where you talk about how you're credible and why it's a good thing that you're writing this book. So it's also where publishers learn about you as a person, and that's very important. Then there's the table of contents and synopsis. This is where you show the experience your book is going to provide to others. This is where you show the architecture of your book, the sequence of ideas, and how things are going to progress from one chapter to the next. Extremely important. Then there's the marketing information. Remember, I talked about how publishers love to work with authors who will work hard to promote their books. This is where you show them what you're going to do to help them promote your book. Extremely important. And then writing sample. Listen, I've looked at a lot of book proposals where everything is pretty good. Like the title is subtitled, they cast the vision, they tell me why they're credible, they show me a great structure, they even show how they're going to help market the book. But then I get to the writing sample and it's as if the writer sort of ran out of gas. Don't do that. Remember, the writing sample is the thing publishers are considering sending into the world. So you want that to be really strong. These are the major elements of a book proposal. A good book proposal presents a great book concept, a strong platform, and a compelling writing sample. Those are the three things that publishers are looking for: great concept, strong platform, and a compelling writing sample. And a book proposal is going to spotlight those three things. Here's the key principle. Your book proposal will make or break your chances of landing a book deal. It's just that simple. Your book proposal will make or break your chances of landing a book deal. So here's the recap. Secret number one, your audience is not everybody. You need a tribe. You need to find where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. That's where you'll find your tribe. Secret number two, a strong book concept will do a lot of work for you. You want to find a concept that meets a real need real people really have and does so in a unique and distinctive way. Secret number three, you are your book's most important marketer. There's what you can do and what the publisher can do, and that's it. Secret four, credibility is king. We talked about formal credibility, social credibility, experiential credibility. It's important to know how you are a credible source for the book that you are planning to write. And secret number five is a strong book proposal is the key that opens the doors to publishing. When it comes to getting a book deal, the whole process inside a publishing house starts with the book proposal. So it really is the key that opens the doors to publishing. Well, it's your time. Thank you for listening to these 5 secrets. And I just want to encourage you. I've helped a lot of people win book deals. And I'd like to suggest to you today that it's your time to go after a book deal. Let's come back to these. Why did you choose to attend this webinar? You told me you wanted to get your book published. You have a book idea but struggle with next steps. You're frustrated with figuring out how to break into publishing. Many of you said yes to this statement, worried that publishers won't take you seriously. And many of you need to write a strong book proposal but would like some help. Here's the obvious question. How do I write a compelling book proposal quickly to give myself the best possible shot at landing a book deal? How do I write a compelling book proposal quickly to give myself the best possible shot at landing a book deal? Well, you have some options. There's the stressful and complicated option. Look, there's a lot on the internet about writing book proposals, and there's a lot of good information on the internet about writing book proposals. It may take you a lot of time to find all the information that you need, but it is there. So I call that the stressful and complicated option. Then there's the simple and straightforward option where I personally help you. I take 20 years of publishing expertise and I personally guide you in writing a book proposal. I call that the simple and straightforward method. Well, let me introduce you to Book Proposal Academy. Book Proposal Academy provides a straightforward path for crafting a powerful book proposal to maximize your chances of landing a book deal. BPA provides a straightforward path for crafting a powerful book proposal to maximize your chances of landing a book deal. That's why I created Book Proposal Academy. Who's it for? It's for writers, bloggers, podcasters, speakers, video bloggers, really anyone who wants to get published. What you get: 6 modules cover the 6 major elements of a book proposal. So I have a handful of trainings in each of those modules, and it walks you through step by step in creating those 6 major elements of a book proposal. There's a transcript of every video. So if you don't like video, you prefer to read, you can do that. Each module ends with action steps, so you know exactly what to do. And it's all self-paced with all the materials available as soon as you register. This is all ready to go for you right now. You also get everything you need to know about the publishing industry and book contracts. You learn how to secure an agent, how to develop a great book concept. We talked about that earlier. We actually did some of that work, but this goes into much more depth on creating a great book concept. How to structure your book. I have a training on that. How to plan the marketing of your book. There's a training on that. Plus the pros and cons of traditional versus self-publishing. It's all inside Book Proposal Academy. Plus you get a replay of a coaching webinar where you get to watch as I coach a BPA member on how to improve her book proposal. Take what you learn, put it into your own book proposal. Plus there's a replay of a video conference call I had with Chuck Tate about how he wrote his book proposal, secured an agent, won a book deal, wrote his book, and promoted his book. He talks about it all in that conference call. You also get 8 actual book proposals that won book contracts, with more on the way. So these are real book proposals that won book deals. Again, you get to look at those book proposals and transfer what you learn into your own proposal. And a private Facebook group where you can ask me and other BPA members any question you have. And just because I'm here with Jeff, I wanted to point out that Book Proposal Academy includes a book proposal from these guys. The one on the left probably looks familiar. Jeff Goins and Grant Baldwin are working on a book, and their book proposal won a book deal. I helped them with their proposal, and it won a book deal, and that book proposal is inside Book Proposal Academy. Here's what you'll create: a powerful 20 to 40 page book proposal that you can send directly to agents and publishers. You're going to create a 20 to 40 page book proposal that you can send directly to agents and publishers. Well, at this point, I often receive questions, and I can see many questions have come in, and I'll definitely get to those. But here are some that I wanted to get ahead of. The first one is this: what about my platform? Well, I'll say more about this in a minute, but if you take advantage of this special webinar package that I'm about to offer, you will get Jonathan Milligan's Rapid 1000 course free. Jonathan Milligan is a good friend. He's a full-time professional blogger, and this course is going to help you get a huge head start with your platform. So stay tuned for a little more information about that. Is BPA right for fiction writers? The answer is we have several fiction writers in BPA who get a lot of value from it. The reality is I spent most of my career in nonfiction. I did a little work in fiction, but most of it is in nonfiction. Still, we have several fiction writers in BPA who get a lot of value from it. Much of it is transferable to fiction. And I plan to make it even more valuable to fiction writers in the months ahead. What I plan to do is to interview an agent who specializes in fiction, a successful novelist, and an acquisitions editor who specializes in fiction. And I'll include those interviews inside Book Proposal Academy. So my answer is yes, BPA is right for fiction writers. What about this question? What if I don't land a book deal? Here's my advice. Use your book proposal to write and launch your book. There's no better way to start a book project than to write a book proposal because you learn so much in the process. Then use your self-published book to boost your platform and credibility. And then use Book Proposal Academy to try again. The great thing about a self-published book is it provides all 3 forms of credibility. Formal, because it's a credential to your name. experiential because now you've had the experience of writing and promoting a book, and social because now you have your readers from that first book that are going to be interested in your next book. And you have lifetime access to BPA, so use it again to write another book proposal and pursue a traditional book deal the next time. Here's what Bobby Jr. has to say about Book Proposal Academy. Chad broke the task of a book proposal into bite-sized parts, focusing on each in detail. Not only do I have a better understanding of how to write a book proposal, I also have a new way to approach my writing project, how to consider its marketability and shape its direction before putting pen to paper. Highly recommended for both beginners and experienced writers. And I love that because what she gets at is each training isn't overwhelming. Each training really is bite-sized, so that it's a very doable step-by-step process. Check this out from Lisa Van Engen. I just signed my first book contract, and I know Book Proposal Academy played a huge role in my proposal's success. There she is, signing her contract. Love to see pictures like that. Or here's Chuck Tate. Chad Allen has years of experience inside the publishing world. He will motivate and inspire you to get working on your craft. BPA is priceless. And I hear that from people all the time, that just getting into BPA is a huge motivator for them. It helps them move forward and give them momentum toward their book and getting it into the world. So love seeing quotes like that. Well, thanks so much for joining me. Here are the bonuses that I promised at the beginning of this presentation. If you go to chadrallen.com/bonuses, you'll get these two bonuses, the My Writing Process worksheet and the Author Income Calculator. And if somebody, thanks Sandy, I was gonna just ask for somebody to type that into the chat so that others can just click on it. Appreciate your doing that, Sandy. Make sure you have a chance to get that. All right. So you might wonder, well, what does Book Proposal Academy cost? And here's your answer. Your investment into Book Proposal Academy would be 3 monthly payments of $117 or $297 if you pay all at once. So you have two options. The monthly payment option is 3 monthly payments of $117, or if you pay all at once, you save $54 and the total cost is $297. Here's the link, vip.bookproposalacademy.com. Make sure you type in VIP instead of www. If you type www.bookproposalacademy.com, you will go to a sales page, but the offer there is not nearly as good as what you're getting today as an attendee in this workshop. So vip.bookproposalacademy.com. Book Proposal Academy does come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied with your purchase, email me at chad@chadrallen.com, or you can just hit reply on any of my emails, and I'll give you an immediate refund, no questions asked. And the reason I'm including this guarantee is because I want to put all of the risk on me. Could you get inside BPA and download some things and take some notes and then give it back to me? Yes, you could. I'm taking a risk by giving you this 30-day money-back guarantee. But the reality is, I think you're going to love BPA so much that you will want to stay in it. So this really is meant to take the risk off of you, make this a very safe purchase for you. Normally, Book Proposal Academy is $600. Today, like I said, if you go with the one payment option, it's $297, which is better than 50% off. Plus, you get some great bonuses. What would an offer be without some great bonuses, right? So I talked about Jonathan Milligan's Rapid 1000 course. Milligan is a good friend, a full-time blogger with a mailing list in the tens of thousands. And the number one metric for a platform these days is your email list. This course helps you get your first 1,000 email subscribers fast. He shows you step by step how to do this. He sells this course for $250. It's free as part of this package. Plus, you get the writing secrets of 8 best-selling authors, how to overcome whatever's holding you back and get your book into the world. Let me tell you what this is. I went to these 8 authors: Mark Batterson, John Burke, Mary DeMuth, Daniel Harkavy, Ernie Johnson Jr., Chip Ingram, Michael Hyatt, and Frank Viola. They're all best-selling authors, and I went to them and asked them 3 questions. What's your writing process? How do you write your books? I asked them, what's a little writing hack that you use that maybe other people don't know about? And what's your best advice for first-time authors? I asked them all those 3 questions, and they all answered me. And I've taken what they said and I put it into this PDF. So it's not my summary of what they said, it's their actual words as they answered those 3 questions. It has a value of $50 free as part of this package. And a third bonus, I'm going to give you 30 days inside book camp. This is my exclusive mentoring and coaching hub for writers. This is where I do group coaching, guys. We do a monthly, what we call a fireside chat. We do it once a month. I tell you the latest in what I'm learning about publishing, writing, platform building, and then I open it up for questions. You even have the opportunity to submit up to 2 pages of content, and I will critique that content for you and give you feedback. 30 days inside book camp is $32 free with this offer. So you get those 4 things. You get the Book Proposal Academy, including the sample book proposals, the video conference call with Chuck Tate, the replay of the webinar, all the modules. You get the Rapid 1000 course. You get the Writing Secrets of 8 Best-Selling Authors, 30 days inside book camp. The total value is $932. Yours today for $297 if you go with the 1 payment option. Plus, I'd like to give you a fast action bonus. This is my way of rewarding people who make a decision quickly. If you register for Book Proposal Academy before the end of this webinar, you will be entered to win a complete book proposal review and one-on-one consultation with me. This has a value of $997. You'll be entered to win this if you register before the end of this webinar, just as a way of saying thank you for taking action on your book quickly today. Again, here's the link, vip.bookproposalacademy.com. Listen, anyone can write a strong book proposal with Book Proposal Academy. I've shown you how it's worked for others, and it will work for you too. Plus, with a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked, hassle-free guarantee, you are 100% protected and safe. Here's what we both know. A year from now, your book is going to be closer to publication, maybe even in the marketplace, or it won't be. Where will your book be? That's your decision to make right now. Well, if you go to vip.bookproposalacademy.com, you're going to see this sales page. And there's a bunch of information on this page, so feel free to check that out. At the bottom of the page, you'll see something that looks like this. And then you'll notice that there are 2 payment options. If you press that green button that says Join Now, that's the monthly payment option. That's where you'll pay $117 a month for 3 months. If you click on that line that says Save $54 when you pay in full here, that's the 1 payment option. That's where you'll pay $297. So if you click the Join Now button, you'll come to a page that looks like this and spells out the terms. And then this is the 1 payment option. That's what you'll see if you click that Save $54 line. And you'll put in your information here, and you will get an email that looks like this. Thanks for purchasing Book Proposal Academy. And when you click on that login button, you will come to this panel. And this is where you're going to sign in to your account. It's really helpful if you use the same email address when you purchase BPA as when you sign in. So if you use the same email address, that'll work best for you. You'll come to this library, or you could refer to it as a dashboard, And you'll see that you have both Book Proposal Academy and Book Camp. So let's look inside Book Proposal Academy. This is what you'll see at the beginning. This is, I shrunk this down a little bit to show you more, but there's a welcome video there. And if you scroll down, this is where you'll see the different sections within the course. There's a prompt to join the Facebook group there at the top. And then you'll see the sample book proposals. Let's click on that. This is what you'll see there. That's the video conference call with Chuck Tate. And on the right there are the actual book proposals under the downloads section. So those 8 book proposals are all listed right there. This is one of the video trainings. So you'll see the video at the top, and then there's a place to comment at the bottom. Your comments come directly to my inbox. So I encourage you to comment on those trainings. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to type that in there, and that will come right to my inbox. And then every video comes with a transcript. You see that on the right. Many people find the transcript helpful. Sometimes they'll watch the video once and then they'll print out the transcript so that they can kind of absorb it more. But anyway, both options are there for you. And this is the Facebook group. I assume many of you know what a Facebook group looks like, but I just wanted to show you an example of what goes on in the Facebook group. This is me referring to a new proposal that I've added. And I do plan to keep adding more and more contract winning book proposals inside the members area. All right. Well, we have made it to the Q&A portion of our time together, and I'm excited to get to your questions. I'm going to turn on my video. If you guys can see me, would you say so in the chat box? Oh, good. Thanks, Tanya. Thanks, Jeff. All right. So I'm going to get this time counter going. Give me just a second to set things up on my end. And get the questions up. You'll notice the link is at the bottom of this page. I sometimes get questions. What's that link again? It's at the bottom there, vip.bookproposalacademy.com. And again, if you have questions, I encourage you to use the Q&A button for those. I see a number of questions have already come in, and we're going to get to those shortly. So if you've asked a question in the chat box, if you're able to just ask it again in the Q&A box, that would be extremely helpful. Jeff, thanks for that link. All right. Sandy is here helping us, and she says, you might want to start with a question about whether the course is good if you haven't written the book yet, which is a great question. And the answer is an emphatic yes. I think the best way to start a book project is by writing a book proposal. The reason is you learn so much in the process. When you work on that book concept, you learn a lot about what is the need your book is needing and how is it doing it in a distinctive way. When you write the brief description, you learn how to talk about and how to market your book, how to cast your vision for the book. When you write the chapter by chapter synopsis, you're learning what the structure of your book is going to be, and so on. So I think it's great for people who haven't written a book yet. All right, so let's get started with the Q&A box. Thanks, Sandy. Madeline says, I understand the benefit and importance of getting an editor before submitting. What is a reasonable price for good editing service on an 80K draft? That's a great question. And actually, because you get 30 days inside Book Camp, we do have a database that we've started of editors. So I'm looking to expand that as we move forward. But that database of editors is there inside Book Camp, so you'd have access to that. In terms of a price for good editing service on an 80K draft, it depends on whether you're talking about developmental, otherwise known as substantive editing, or copy editing. Copy editing is anywhere from $20 an hour to more like $30, $35 an hour. Developmental editing is often quite a bit more expensive than that. $50 an hour is not uncommon. And sometimes they do it by page count or by word count. So it just varies a lot. There's no sort of golden standard there. I would think for a good developmental edit on a book of that length, you could spend $5,000 pretty easily. So now the thing I want to mention to you though is if you get a book deal, most times the publisher pays for the editing. There may be some publishers for which that's not the case, but in most cases, one of the benefits of working with a traditional book publisher, therefore one of the benefits of landing a book deal, is the publisher, that's a service the publisher provides. So you may want to have another editor look at it before you even submit it, but that is something that publishers provide. Tanya says, how can you gauge if your book title is effective in grabbing readers' attention? That's a great question. Oftentimes what I encourage people to do, first of all, you have to get really clear on the need your book is meeting, and you do that with I statements. Once you have that in mind, you want your title and subtitle to speak directly to that need. And then what I often encourage people to do is do a poll. First, you can have people brainstorm ideas with you. I often will encourage people to do a brainstorming party to come up with titles. But when you have it narrowed down to your top 3 to 5 title subtitles, do a poll to your tribe. If you have an email list, you can do this. You can do this inside a Facebook page or group, and have people, if you ask them the question, which of these titles are you most likely to buy, which is a great question because it's not what they like, it's what they'd be most likely to buy, then you can get a sense of which of your titles is the strongest. So I hope that's helpful, Tanya. Another Tanya says, I have a business books for writers series. How do you know if the book is too small in length for a publisher? That's up to each individual publisher. Tanya, one thing you can do is find other books in your space that are of a similar length and notice who the publishers are and submit to those publishers because you know that they're already open to books of a length that is similar to yours. So that would be my advice there. Abby says, I'm 75% finished with my manuscript. Is it too soon to pitch my memoir? Do I need for it to be complete before sending my queries? No, you don't. And that's true for memoir. That is true for nonfiction books. It's a little different with fiction. Oftentimes, especially if you're a first-time fiction author, oftentimes editors will want to see the full manuscript. But if you're doing nonfiction or memoir, they often don't want to see the full manuscript. They just want that writing sample at the end of the book proposal. The writing sample is often an introduction and first chapter, sometimes first 2 chapters, sometimes first 3 chapters. But at a minimum, introduction and first chapter. All right. Yuri, how to create a great book proposal for fiction. So many of the trainings in BPA are going to help you do that. Much of the content there is going to help, especially the bio section, even the writing section of the writing sample section of BPA is going to be helpful to you. And like I said, I'm going to interview an agent who specializes in fiction, an acquisitions editor who specializes in fiction, and a novelist to give you the inside scoop on what makes for the very best fiction book proposal, Yuri. Great question. This person asks, is this different for picture books? Yes, there are some things that are transferable and some that aren't. And it'd be helpful to know if you mean children's picture books or like coffee table books. You would do a book proposal in either case, and yes, much of what's in BPA would definitely be transferable to picture books. It's just that when you do that brief description, you're going to talk about those pictures. And in the writing sample, if you have the pictures already in place, you definitely would want to share some of those. All right? Tanya asked, does a fiction book have a ton, or do you just include the synopsis? I'm not sure what you're asking there, Tanya. But in the case of fiction, they often do want to see a full manuscript. All right. Holly, how often do you reject books due to the writing sample as compared to just a badly put together proposal? And do you tell the author their writing needs work? When I was an acquisitions editor, I tried to give, especially if I sensed that the author wanted that feedback, I would try to, graciously as I could, give them feedback about what would have made their book proposal stronger. So, like I said, there are three main criteria: concept, platform, and writing. The number one reason publishers turn books down is too small a platform, which is why I went to Jonathan Milligan for you and got his permission to include Rapid 1000 inside this package, because platform is important. But writing is important too. Concept is important as well. So publishers turn down books for all sorts of reasons that have to do with those three things. The number one reason, though, is too small a platform. Holly asks, is it wise to hire a professional editor on your own, or is that something that goes with what the publisher pays for? Yep, we covered that, Holly. You can definitely cover your own editor if you want to before you submit it. But traditional book publishers do have a budget for editorial work, and they will take care of the editing for you. I just want to pause here and congratulate some folks for joining BPA, including Helmut and Rhonda and Ruth and Hazel. Welcome, and more of you coming in. So welcome, all of you. I'm giving you all high fives. So glad you're in the course. I know that you're going to find this extremely valuable. And I want to mention again that you have about 5 minutes to be entered to win that free book proposal review with me. So I encourage you to jump in. Again, there's no risk because you get this 30-day money-back guarantee. So I encourage you to jump in. All right. Jeff says, woo. Sandy says, congrats to new BPAers. Yes, and I can promise you the folks in the Facebook group are going to welcome you with open arms. So I'm super, super excited to welcome you. All right. Let's see. Ruth says, how much should I write of my book before I send off book proposals? I'm a slow writer. Yeah, no problem, Ruth. You definitely want to have the writing sample in the book proposal, but that's about all you need. You need to have a clear vision for your book. You need to have the chapter by chapter synopsis so that you know what the structure of the book is, and you need to have the writing sample. That's all you need to begin getting responses back from agents and publishers. And then you can negotiate your manuscript due date. If a publisher is interested in your book, they may have a suggestion of when they'd like the manuscript, but you can always work with them. You can usually negotiate a manuscript due date that works for you because they want you to feel good about the book that you submit. All right. Holly says, how long should the writing sample be? At a minimum, introduction and first chapter, sometimes as much as the introduction and first 3 chapters. So it depends, but I would start with introduction and first chapter, and if a publisher or agent wants more, they'll certainly ask for it. Unless you have super short chapters or something, then you may want to include a little more. Rebecca asks, once I have a strong proposal, how do I find the most likely publishers to send it to? That's a great question, Rebecca. And you don't even have to wait until you have a strong proposal. Here's what I suggest doing. Go to your local bookstore, go to the section of the book proposal, the bookstore where you envision your book being placed, and take notes on the publishers that are in that space. And while you're at it, look at the acknowledgments section and look at the copyright page, because there might be a reference to agents that could be interested in representing you. So note both ideal publishers and agents that are in your space. And that's the best way to start, compiling your top 10 or so publishers, or your top 5 or so publishers and agents. Great question, Rebecca. Mitzi had the same question. How do I find an appropriate publisher? Tanya asks, can you self-publish a book title, then seek a traditional publisher? Great question. And the answer is it varies. When I was working for a big publisher, there were occasions when we would go ahead and pick up a book that was previously self-published and do a commercial release of it, basically roll it out to the market in a much bigger way than had been the case before. We didn't do that very often, but if we sensed that the book had not tapped out its market yet, and we knew that the author was going to do more work in terms of the content and in terms of the promotion, then we sometimes would pick it up and do re-release it as a revised or an updated or even a new book. Sometimes we would change the title if we thought the book was different enough to warrant that. So you do see that sometimes. I'm working with an author right now who's thinking about this, and the advice that we're giving to this author is, you can draw on some of the content of your self-published book, but really it would be better if we were pitching a completely new book. So it just varies. It all depends on the publisher's perception about whether your book has really capped its market. If the publisher feels like, oh no, this is an indication of how many more we can sell, then they might very well be interested in traditionally publishing your book. Great question. All these are great questions. Mark asks, what's the place of social media to promote my book? Listen, all the channels of promotion are super important, and you need to take all of it into consideration when you're developing the strategy to promote your book. So you're gonna reference all of that in the marketing section. I go into that in great detail inside the members area. So definitely social media is important. Your email list is supremely important, and yeah, you want to do a full-on blitz across all channels: social media, email, ads, publicity. You want to just get the word out in any way you possibly can. Let's see here. Helen, do you need an agent? At what point is it best to find one? Great question. Love these questions. Ideally, if you're pursuing if what you're wanting to publish is a trade book, in other words, a book that you'd find in Barnes & Noble, that is to say, it's not a highly specialized manual or it doesn't have a super niched audience. If you're wanting to release a trade book in trade channels, then oftentimes an agent is very helpful. Many publishers have a no unsolicited proposals policy, which means you can't even send in your proposal. You have to work through an agent in those cases. And you said, when is it best to find one? I think it's great to find one as soon as you can, but oftentimes agents want to see your book proposal before they agree to represent you. So that would be my response to you, Helen. How would I write a book proposal to get Ollie's diaries published? Ollie is my cat, and he wrote his diaries. They're humorous, Pauline says. In the same way that you'd write, the process will be very similar for that book proposal as for a different book proposal. It's just that, I would write it in your voice. I wouldn't necessarily write it in Ollie's voice, except for the writing sample, of course. Because remember, this is a business plan, and you want to be pitching them you want to be giving them the business case. And if you do it in Ollie's voice, that they may not take it as seriously. So I hope that helps you, Pauline. Richard, does one write a book proposal before writing a book? Yes, I would say, especially in the case of nonfiction, I think that is the way to go. Here's why. When you turn in that book proposal and a publisher decides they want to take it on, they may well have some advice about how they want you to write your book. They may want you to shape it in particular ways. So that's why I think don't do any more work than you have to. You're going to work hard enough on the proposal. So do that work, the proposal work, and then see what kind of feedback you get from the publisher, because the publisher might very well have some ideas for you about how to write the book. All right? Hazel, If I have a solid concept, will I be able to review lessons to create my book proposal within a month or so? Yes, you get lifetime access, Hazel. So you join today, you'll have lifetime access. Tanya, what's the average length? What's too short, too long? Too short is 10 pages, unless you have a strong track record of publishing and selling books. Too long would be 100 pages. So I shoot for 20 to 40, maybe 20 to 50 pages is about the right length. Gertrude, a book proposal should be 20 to 40 pages long. That seems like a lot of pages. Does that include the first chapter and another chapter? Yes, it does. So the whole proposal would be 20 to 40 pages, roughly. All right. And it may seem long, but trust me, by the time you include your chapter by chapter synopsis, your marketing information, it adds up pretty quickly. Another question, what about creative nonfiction? BPA would be very relevant. And we definitely publish plenty of creative nonfiction. So great question. Nicole, should you do the book proposal before you complete the actual book? Yes. Helmut asks, I am self-published on Amazon. How do I find a book publisher for my series of books without spending thousands and thousands of dollars with sales folks? Well, what publishers will be most interested in, they will want you to demonstrate that there is a market beyond the market you've already reached with these books. I'm assuming what you're asking is, how can I get these self-published books and a deal with a traditional publisher? That's what they're going to be most interested in. So if you can demonstrate that there is an audience beyond the audience you've already reached, that's what's going to get them interested, Helmut. Holly, can we get this deal later if we aren't ready for this yet? I'm keeping this open until Saturday night at midnight. So you will get all of the bonuses, except being entered in to win the free book proposal review. And I'll keep that open for as long as we're online here. I know the counter has come down to 0-0, but you can go ahead and get in now and you'll still be entered to win the book proposal review. But until Saturday night, you can get BPA and all the other bonuses at that amazing discount. So hope you'll take advantage of that. Claudia, so is this appropriate if you haven't started the book yet? Yes. Starting your book with a book proposal is a great way to go. I want to learn what is the best, this is Joy. I want to learn what is the best method of getting a book published when I am working with a small budget. This is awesome, Joy. The great thing about writing a book proposal is you pay in sweat equity. You are going to work on this, and that is the payment. It doesn't cost anything to submit your proposal to agents and publishers. Now, if you want to have it designed, you can, but you don't have to. If you want to have it edited, you can, but you don't have to. Many people don't have it designed or edited, and they get book deals all the time. So that's what I would say. The great thing about traditional publishing is it's the publisher paying you if they're interested in your book. It's not you paying them. All right. Paula, so I don't need to be further into my writings to sign up. Don't want to put cart before the horse, still in first draft mode. Help trying to decide. Paula, I just encourage you to give Book Proposal Academy a try. You're going to learn so much in writing your book proposal that's going to help you write your manuscript. I think that's the best way of going. All right? If you have any more questions about that, let me know. By the way, I mean it. On this page, it says questions, email me, chad@chatterisland.com. I'm at that email address. So if I didn't get to something tonight or this afternoon, or if you want more detail, please feel free to shoot me an email. Okay. I see some similar questions that I've already answered that I'm going to pass over. Yes, Meg asks, in your book proposal, is the writing sample part of the book you want them to publish? Yes. Now, in some cases, it may be okay for you to provide a sample from a different book, but especially if you're a first-time author, they will want to see the proposed book itself, a sample of the proposed book itself. So, great question. How does it work for fiction writers? Very similar. The only difference is if it's your first book deal, you will write the complete manuscript. They will want to see that. Paula, what's the difference between your service and Hay House? Hay House has approached me. Paula, my understanding is Hay House is a traditional book publisher. So if they've approached you, they may well want you to send them a book proposal. I could be wrong. They could be a hybrid publisher, in which case they're likely asking for you to pay for part of your print run. That's the hybrid model. So I would just get clear with them if, what kind of deal they're offering to you. What Book Proposal Academy is it helps you write your book proposal to land a traditional book deal. A Book Proposal Academy is not a book publisher. It's a course that helps you write a book proposal. Vi says, is it better to go with the size of the potential audience or the topic that I am most passionate about for a first proposal? What a great question. And it will vary. That Frederick Buechner quote comes to mind, finding the intersection between what you want to write and what the world needs from you. You really do want to be in that sweet spot. That is where your tribe is, and that's where publishers will get interested. So hopefully you have a tribe that you can run your ideas, you can survey your readers, you can find out what is it they most want from you. And then I would listen to that. I would listen to what your audience needs and find the alignment between your passions and the world's need. Hope that's helpful, Vi. Great question. Jim, how many pages should a cover letter be? Oh, man, if editors could hear that you were asking that, they'd be so pleased. Just 1 page. That's all the cover letter needs to be. Mark, how do I find the marketing power of a publisher so as to choose the best one? Look at other books in your space and notice what seems to be working in the marketplace. Notice the publishers that are getting work done in your particular space, and you want to work with those publishers. Lindsay, do publishers want to see ideas for cover art? It depends. As long as you make it clear that these are just mock-ups, you can certainly include those. What they don't want is for you to be married to a particular book cover. Publishers have a lot of expertise in book covers, and they will have ideas about what's best in the marketplace for your particular book. It's not that they don't want your ideas, but they'll definitely have their own ideas. So you can include a mock-up or two, and as long as they understand that they're mock-ups, that can be fine. Not at all necessary, but it can be fine if you want to. If you're writing a book about people, their stories, how do you work out details of payment to them? Well, if all you're doing is including an anecdote from somebody, it would be a good idea to get their permission, but normally that doesn't cost something. If your book is a biography about somebody who's living, then those deals vary from deal to deal. So it just depends on whatever the parties involved think is fair. I've seen 50-50 deals. I've seen 90-10 deals. I mean, I've seen all sorts of things. Does the publishers you recommend pay advances to the author? Just to be clear, I don't recommend publishers. I recommend doing your own research about the best publishers for your particular book. But yes, traditional book publishers of any size are going to pay in advance for a trade book that they contract. So, and just to say a little bit more about that, what they're doing is they're paying you in advance against royalties. The way authors make money from their books is by receiving royalties. It's just a percentage of each book that's sold, a percentage of the receipts of each book that's sold. And what publishers do is they project what they think they're going to sell. They come up with a number, and then they use that projection to pay you in advance against royalties. That's how that works. Rebecca, how do I enter to win the free book proposal review? Sign up for Book Proposal Academy before the end of this webinar. And I'm coming down to the end of the questions. So I would do that soon, Rebecca, if you haven't already. And I'm just noticing more and more folks coming in. Let's see. Adrian, welcome. Paula, welcome. Remy, welcome. Welcome, Helmut, Rhonda, Ruth, Hazel. So glad to have you all in with us. Tommy, welcome. And I'm high-fiving all of you. Make sure that you get in the Facebook group and introduce yourself. We want to give you a warm welcome. And I know that the rest of the BPA students will be so pleased you're there as well. All right. Good question, Rebecca. Madeline, can you submit a proposal to a publisher without an agent? It depends on the publisher. So any publisher should have some kind of submission guidelines. Most larger traditional book publishers won't accept unsolicited proposals. You'll have to work through an agent. That's why I include a training in BPA about how to secure an agent. So make sure you check that out inside the members area, Madeline. All right. I will help you, Paula. She says, I've signed up. Helping you will truly help me. I will. Mark my words. Esther, what are examples of some of the deals received by authors that you have worked with? Well, I don't want to divulge too much, but during my career, it's a huge spectrum. Anywhere from, no advance for a book that was maybe a repackage, to deals in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it really does vary. So it's hard to give you a range that's going to mean anything to you. So I would say for first-time authors with maybe a decent-sized platform, I really hesitate. I hate to say something and then you come back to me and say, well, you said this. So I'm not going to say anything. But just know that in my 20-year publishing career, we did everything from nothing to hundreds of thousands of dollars in advance money. Oh, this is a great question from M. Nicole. How can you protect yourself from intellectual theft when pitching to publishers and agents? So in my 20 years, there was only one time I can think of where we published a book, or at least announced that we were publishing it, and an agent came to me and said, hey, isn't this an idea I pitched to you? And I was able to show him, no. This idea originated long before, and I was able to prove it. So that only happened one time, and we were not thieves. To this agent, it appeared that way, and I was able to take care of it. The fact is that, yes, your ideas have value, but the execution of those ideas has even more value. And so you may have a great idea, but for a publisher to go to the trouble of stealing that idea and then executing on it, it would just be very abnormal. You do have a copyright on everything that you write, so you're covered by our government in that way. But in all my years, that was the one example I ever saw, and it really wasn't that big a deal. So take comfort, Nicole. I think you're just fine. Great. Well, that brings us to the end of the questions in the question box. I'll jump into the chat box just to see what's going on. And Jeff, I don't know if you want to come on and say any final words.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, Jeff, you're there.
Hey. Great job, man. This is excellent.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great. I mentioned before that Chad is the guy that I go to when I have questions about book proposals. I actually went to him a few months ago because I was thinking about a couple of things, new book, and also republishing an old book in a different format. And just super helpful with this. So I can't encourage you enough if you're curious about getting a traditional book contract or working with a publisher. I've traditionally published 4 books. I'm working on a 5th book that Chad actually acquired earlier this year. So yeah, this is great teaching. I learn something every time. I'm really grateful to you, Chad. I'm grateful to everybody here. But I do want to give that endorsement. I highly recommend working with Chad. Book Proposal Academy is great, great stuff. You won't regret doing it. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. Thanks for being here. Chad, anything else you want to say?
Just thank you to all of you. Your time is valuable. I really appreciate your showing up and sticking around. Great questions at the end. Again, there's my email address, so reach out if you have any other questions. And thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your day. See you next time.
All right. Bye, all.